All right, folks, and welcome to another comprehensive Magic the Gathering Arena draft. Yesterday, I just uploaded two nice 7-win Core Set 2019 videos, and again, don't have too much Theros Beyond Death content, so I'm happy to fire some off today to get those out of the way. And about the set, definitely very deep. You definitely need to have a lot of synergy to really win your games. And yeah, this is a very good draft set. Probably one of my favorites, um, as well as maybe Modern Horizons, Dominaria, even Throne of Eldraine. Yeah, let's get this started. And the pack one, pick one. What do we open? Pretty powerful card. Our first Iroan Games is definitely great. Not only does it create a 1/1 creature, I mean a 4/4 creature on Chapter 2, but on Chapter 3 you end up drawing 2 cards if it sticks on the battlefield. Um, Definitely very powerful card. It can trigger Constellation since again it's an enchantment, and it can help the Power 4 Matters decks in green-red. So definitely a great first pick, great rare, solid card. Looking at the uncommons, Laguna Band Storyteller can be pretty decent with cards like Dreadful Apathy, which end up in the graveyard. Just being able to fetch the card back, gain some life, and then put out a 3/4 blocker is pretty nice. So I am a big fan of the Laguna Band Storyteller. Plays well in decks that's looking to fly. I mean, it plays well flyer since it's a nice big ground blocker, and then again, it can fetch back powerful enchantments that end up in the graveyard, especially sagas like the first Iroan Games. Reverend Hoplite is actually very powerful as well. Does definitely reward you for having a lot of white devotion. Just being able to go wide with lots of 1/1s can just be game winning. Not only does it make it really difficult for the opponent to race on the ground, um, but it makes it really difficult for them to not die, since you can just flood the board with a bunch of 1/1s. And white is a very aggressive color in this set, so usually you are dealing points of damage to the opponent with your flyers and early game ground creatures, and then you can use Reverend Hoplite as a nice finisher by just making a lot of 1/1 tokens, attacking all out, and basically winning the game from there. So another great uncommon. Hateful Island is more situational, but it can be very good if you pick up lots of enchantments, auras that destroy creatures, such as Mare's Grasp or Inevitable End, or maybe even Mokusa's Favor. Um, but it is a bit of a build around. It does require a lot more work to get going. Playing this as a 1-mana 1/2 lifelink is okay, but it is kind of underwhelming since the stat line is pretty bad. And if you can build around this, just allowing your removal spells to turn into potential cantrips is really nice. So you don't fall behind on card advantage. It's a card that I would definitely play if I already have a lot of auras, but I wouldn't definitely first pick it. But it can be very strong in some occasions. Looking at the commons, Dreadful Apathy stands out as probably the best one in this pack. Just a solid removal spell, plays well with the Flicker of Fates, ends up in the graveyard, so you can get back with cards like Laguna Band Storyteller. And yeah, doesn't ask much of you. Lock down a creature, exile it. So it's a very good card. Other good cards include Omen of the Sea as a nice way to basically find a good playable on top of your deck and draw it, and then the late game ability where you can sacrifice this to scry 2 is also really powerful and relevant, so Omen of the Sea is also quite a standout card. There's also Omen the Forge as a good removal spell, just for cheap creatures that you need to deal with. Basically, this is the shock of the set, and then in the late game you can sacrifice this to scry 2, or use this, or play cards like Final Flare, sacrificing this enchantment to deal 5 damage to the opponent's creature. That's pretty much it. But in terms of sheer power level, I think the first Iroan game gets the nod. Green is a pretty good color in this set since it has the best escape creatures at common, like the Voracious Typhon and the Loathsome Chimera, also the Chainweb Arachnir if you're lucky enough to get that for your uncommon is definitely a great card. White is also a really good color since they have cards like Dreadful Apathy, excellent flyers, great removal spells, and payoff cards like Reverend Hoplite. So yeah, don't mind just taking the rare out of this pack, and then if this rare wasn't in this pack, what would I take? It would be close between Reverend Hoplite and Dreadful Apathy. Dreadful Apathy would be the much more safer pick. You don't have to commit to any archetype right away. And basically playable in any white deck, while Reverend Hoplite really wants you to be playing in a heavily white devoted deck, but the payoff is definitely very high with this card. So yeah, don't mind just taking first Iroan Games and let the games begin. And what do we have in this pack? Grey Merchant is a good card, but wants you to play this in a heavily black devoted deck. Just like the Reverend Hoplite, the payoff is definitely very high if you can get the black devotion going, simply because you can drain the opponent with a lot of life, and then you can gain that amount of life, which is very powerful. And then, you know, a 2/4 blocker is okay, of course, as well, so it's also a decent ground blocker. There's another good uncommon here. The Careless Celebrant is an excellent 2-drop. It has the ability to trade up, and it's a little bit annoying to play against in the early game if the opponent gets it out on turn 2 or you, simply because it has a potential to 2-for-1 the opponent. That being said, it can't trigger by itself unless it dies, so it's pretty good in the Black-Red Sacrifice deck, where you can sacrifice this and deal 2 damage to the opponent's creature. But other than that, it's a really nice card that can even trade up for 4 toughness or 3 toughness, so nice 2-drop. Rise to Glory is the excellent payoff uncommon for the white black auras deck, where you are basically getting auras back like Dreadful Apathy or Mire's Grasp to not only kill the opponent but also put out a creature on the battlefield. So it's already a very powerful 2-for-1 at the end of the day. Looking at the commons, the one that stands out the most is Voracious Typhon. And it is a green card. It is a very good green card, definitely. It's one of the premier escape creatures you definitely want in any of your green decks, simply because 4 power, 4 toughness is pretty difficult to beat. It's a good attacker, it's a good blocker, and then in the late game, this can basically cover your 7-drop by becoming a 7/7 creature. So yeah, I think I'm leaning towards Voracious Typhon due to our first pick. If the Voracious Typhon it wasn't in this pack, it would be a pretty interesting choice to debate between either Grey Merchant or the Careless Celebrant. Rise to Glory doesn't really fit well for our first pick, and it is dual color, and I don't really like to take dual color cards unless they're completely busted. Rise to Glory is good, but it's not busted. And between these two, it would be pretty interesting. Do I want to go for the black-green escape deck with the Grey Merchant, or do I want to go to the red-green Power 4 Matters deck, which is looking to be more aggressive? So those two would be an interesting choice, but thankfully we got an excellent green card here, being Voracious Typhon, so let's take it here. And now what do we get? Okay, there's Anax, which is very powerful. This could potentially set us up in a nice green-red Power 4 Matters deck. This basically ferocious, quote-unquote, the mechanic in Khans of Tarkir. It is the best card in this pack overall, but it is double red, so it might be a little bit difficult to cast, especially if we're already playing a double green card like Voracious Typhon. But it is definitely incredibly powerful if you can cast this, since all your creatures that die end up creating 1/1 Satyr tokens that you can use to either sacrifice or go wide with. So definitely a very powerful card. Nothing really stands out in this pack. I don't think I like any of the green commons here. So I think I'll take an Anax Harden in the Forge. It's a little bit difficult to cast, but it's definitely possible if we need to cast it. And maybe settle for a red-green Power 4 Matters deck. And it still keeps our options open since it's also single color. So I think I'll take an Anax here. Anax, that's how you pronounce it. And what do we have in this pack? There's a Blood Aspirant, but that's not a good card in red-green. It's better off as a card in red-black or red-white, where you have tokens to sacrifice. Usually in red-green, most of the creatures tend to be big and cards that you don't really want to sacrifice to throw in the yard. So Blood Aspirant doesn't really play well since most of the creatures, again, are quite essential as good attackers and ground blockers. There's Daybreak Chimera as an excellent common, although it does fit into the same problem as Anax, since it is double white. But it's usually pretty good if you have a single white creature. Just being able to cast this for 4 mana is very powerful as just a nice evasive threat. But again, it is double white, so it can be a little bit difficult to cast. Looking at the other commons, there's Relentless Pursuit, which plays well with the Voracious Typhon and the black-green Escape deck. Not very good if you have lots of instances and sorceries in your deck, since it can dump cards like the first Iroan Games in the graveyard, but sometimes you need to hit a land drop or get a creature or fill your graveyard, and Relentless Pursuit can be pretty good. But I'm liking this Return to Nature. Return to Nature is definitely very solid in this deck. Artifact and Enchantment Destruction is very powerful, and this can also exile a card from the graveyard if you're playing against an opposing Escape deck. It's not wrong, actually, maybe main decking 2 Return to Natures in this set, since, again, there's so many enchantment creatures. So, yeah, definitely serves as a really premium removal spell. And, again, the exile ability is relevant. So let's take it here. And it's also versatile. It takes care of enchantments as well. Looking at this pack, there's Underworld Charger if we want to move into Black-Green Escape. But there's also another good red card here, being Omen of the Forge. Just a nice solid removal spell that we can pick up here. There's also Wings of Hubris, which I do like in the red-green deck and in the green decks in general. Plays especially well since most of the green creatures tend to be really big, like this Voracious Typhon, and then you can give this flying, which turns this very powerful. So Wings of Hubris is definitely a consideration, but best card in this pack overall has to just be this Omen of the Forge. Or otherwise, I think I take the Wings of Hubris over the Underworld Charger, which is a good escape creature, but it can't block. So in some situations where you want to block, and you're playing a much more slower, grindy deck, it's not all that amazing. And Black-Green is a more of a mid-range strategy where you're looking to play defense in the early game and then put down big creatures to overwhelm your opponents. So, yeah, doesn't particularly play too well in Black-Green Escape, but I wouldn't mind playing one anyways. But I think the best card has to be the Omen here, and maybe we can set up for a nice Power of 4 Matters deck. And here in this pack, nothing amazing. That's a late Hateful Eidolon that maybe I can pick up. This plays better in white, black, of course. Actually, never mind. Yeah, actually it does play better in white, black, but mostly if you pick up some good black enchantment removals like Mire's Grasp and Inevitable End, it can be pretty powerful and the Mogis' favor. In terms of white auras, I guess there's Sentinel's Eyes. For green auras, I guess there's the Setessan Training, which can be pretty nice with the Hateful Eidolon. Otherwise, what is there in this pack? These blue cards don't fit well in the green-blue deck. This Home in the Hunt can maybe allow splashing. Oread can be fine as an okay 2-drop. I could just take the Hateful Eidolon here in case we do end up in green-black Escape. And I do prefer green-black over green-red. Usually the Oread is quite filler and you would rather take better 2-drops over it. And Thrill of Possibility, in my opinion, is a better card. So I don't mind taking a speculative Hateful Eidolon here. Hopefully we pick up some black enchantment removal. Otherwise we are going for the red-green Power 4 Matters deck. I guess Oread can be pretty good with the first Iroan Games since it's an early 2-drop, and then you can curve out with the first Iroan Games to put counters on it, but you're already making a 1/1 soldier token to put counters onto, so I don't think this is too essential. I think I'll just take the best card in this pack that has the highest upside if we build around it, and that will be the Hateful Eidolon. Also, black-green is my preferred color in this set. Here in this pack, nothing amazing. Guess there's a Thrill of Possibilities. There's Impending Doom if we want to go all in with a giant creature, which can be pretty powerful since red-green is looking to be quite aggressive. However, getting 2 for 1 can feel pretty bad since you lose out on a lot of card advantage, and in red-green the creatures tend to be pretty big anyways, in theory, so I don't know if we need an Impending Doom. Hero of the Games can be fine if we pick up like some, I guess some what do you call it? The Wrapped in Flames. Do I take it over Thrill of Possibilities? It is close. And you can always pick up. You don't want too many copies of these, while the Hero Games can fill a decent role at 4. Maybe if we do pick up cards like the Wrapped in Flames, it can be pretty powerful with it, and also plays well with the Iro's Blessings on turn 4. So I think I'll take a Hero of the Games here. I mean, there's also Impending Doom, which works well the 2-drop, but again, it's an all-in strategy, which I'm not a big fan of, so we'll take a Hero. And I guess we can take an Oread now to fill out the curve. Also, Rage Scar Berserker can be nice in the black-green deck as a decent curve topper. But I think we're leaning towards red-green here more than green-black. And the Rage Scar Berserker is just an okay card. If we do end up red-green, I want to make sure that I at least have a decent 2-drop here. So I think I'll take the Oread. And here, I guess now we can take an Underworld Charger in case we end up in Black-Green Escape over the Red-Green Power 4 Matters deck. Also, late Laguna Band Storyteller, but no enchantments I want to get with it. I guess it plays well the first Iroan Games, of course. And maybe we could end up in, like, White-Green, possible White-Green Auras, where we're looking to be hyper-aggressive, but I'd rather be in Black-Green Escape, I guess. I mean, this is really good with the first Iroan Games, but I think I still take the Underworld Charger in case I end up in Black-Green Escape, since they both work very well together. Now I could just take a Lampad here, nothing else. And also Aspect of Lamprey is playable. So the reason why I'm taking the black cards is black is the best color in this set, and you definitely also late Wings of Hubris, which is nice. And you don't really want to miss out on the black, since it has the best removal overall and some great creatures and great synergy with the rest of these colors, especially in green, in red-black or red-green, or green-black. So just keeping my options open is pretty nice. So now, I mean, next pack, hopefully we open up a bomb in a nice color that we can move towards. For our primary color, I think I'm leaning towards green, since the green cards are just so good here, while the secondary color can either be red or black. We'll see. Well, Kraken is very good. That's a huge bomb, but don't know if I can move into blue, especially if I took up all these cards already. This card is just incredibly absurd and broken. It is double blue, so it's going to be a little bit difficult to splash. Other fine cards include One of the Stars is a nice removal spell. Nessian Hornbeetle is definitely very powerful. If we do end up in red-green, we can definitely prioritize a lot of 4-power creatures, and this Nessian Hornbeetle would be amazing. Looking at the commons, Mogus' Favor I'm a big fan of. Omen of the Sea is also very good. Some fine red creatures, but so I think the choice is between Nessian Hornbeetle and Kraken. It is the second pack, still early, but I still think we stick on color just to ensure that we have something that we know we're going to play for sure. We don't know if we're going to end up playing Kraken, and it's a bit of a stretch since we didn't pick up any blue cards in the first pack. So I think I'll just take the Nessian Hornbeetle, even though the Kraken is a potential powerful card that can just win you the game by itself. The Nessian Hornbeetle just fits well with our first pack, so we'll take it here. Oh, okay. Well, we do see an Acolyte Affliction as a great payoff for the green-black Escape deck. I'm also a big fan of the Venomous Hierophant. A 4-mana 3/3 Death Touch is actually quite powerful in this set, since it's not only a good blocker, but a decent attacker that also fills a graveyard for escape synergies. But I think I prefer the Acolyte over the Venomous Hierophant, since this has the potential to get back a removal spell like Mara's Grasp. The red cards here are okay. If we want to stay flexible, we can decide between Willow-Wolf Haven and the Nylea's Huntmaster, which is fine. But yeah, in terms of power level, I think I prefer the Acolyte of Affliction. The red cards, the best ones are like Anax and Omen of the Forge, and again, we still have time to keep our options open. So I think I'll play the Acolyte here. And if we took the Nirdir Kraken, we'd be pretty upset about this pack. So I think I'll take the Acolyte. And well, now we see a bunch of red cards. I guess an Iro's Blessing makes sense. There's a Slaughter Priest Mogus if we want to give up on green, but green has the best cards overall right now. There's also Eutropia, which can be very splashable as well as a powerful card. so that's also a consideration. We haven't picked up any mana fixing, and in black green, if we do end up playing this, I think we're mostly going to be in black green, trying to splash for this. But the Iro's Blessing is just too good here, and we already have a bunch of red cards. So I think I'll take the Iro's Blessing here, maybe still pivot between black and green. Now I guess we can take an Elysian Caryatid as an excellent 2-drop. Also Will-O-Wolf Haven can be fine, but I think the Caryatid allows us to splash. It has the potential to add 2 extra mana if we have something with 4 power on the battlefield. Otherwise, Will-O-Wolf Haven would probably be my pick, as well, or Cetizen Training as a good aura. But I think the Caryatid is more important. And now, but looking at this deck, where are we looking to be? I mean, in red, standout cards include Anax, Iro's Blessing, and Omen the Forge. In black, we only have like Acolyte of Affliction, maybe a Hateful Eidolon, but most likely, I don't know. Black doesn't look too impressive, but we'll see. I think the Caryatid is the right pick, obviously. And another Voracious Typhon looks excellent here. There's another Elysian Caryatid. There is the Binding of the Titans in case we don't have too many ways to feel escape. Which, you know, it's a serviceable enchantment for your escape creatures, but I prefer cards like Venomous Hierophant for the milling. I think I'll just take an easy Voracious Typhon here. We could still end up in red-green or black-green. And another great green card, Renata. Can't pass this up. There's also Blood Aspirants. Underworld Chargers also late, so red might be more open. Another Elysian Caryatid, but Renata is just a great card. Just gives a bunch of 1/1 counters when something enters the battlefield. Doesn't ask much of you besides playing green. And there's a Warden of the Chain, which is a great payoff card for the red-green deck. But there's also some other great green cards like this Mystic Repeal and this Loathsome Chimera. So the only reason why we want to play black is because of this Acolyte of Affliction and this Underworld Charger. In red, we do have an Iro's Blessing, which is excellent. Anax on 3, Omen of the Forge. And then the rest of these are fine, but not exciting. I mean, the Loathsome Chimera, even in a red-green deck, can still be very good. Since it does have the 4 power, and it's a nice escape creature to get back from the graveyard regardless. The Warden is a little bit better, I think, since due to its 4 power, but the Loathsome Chimera can still keep our options open. Red is looking slightly better than green, however, but I don't know if but I do prefer black-green since we have double Voracious Typhon for the escape going on. Mystic Repeal can act as another fine removal spell. We do have a Return to Nature that can fill a similar role, however. So it's a pretty difficult decision here, but I think we still stay flexible with the Loathsome Chimera. It's still very good in the red-green deck since it is power 4. It does fuel the Elysian Caryatid, of course. So I think I'll take it here. And now I think we can take maybe a Moss Viper. Final Flare can actually be fine if we do end up red-green. Moss Viper, I'm not a big fan of it, but it can be a fine, okay card if you have Warbriar's Blessing. But overall, I haven't been very impressed by this card, to be honest. We already have a bunch of 4-drops already, even in red-green, so I don't know if we need a Nylea's Huntmaster. Probably take the Final Flare. It does play well with the last chapter of the Iroan games. Plays well with the Omen of the Forge. Plays well with the Iro's Blessing or potential sacrifice fodder from Anax. So we'll take a Final Flare here. And I guess I'll take a Scovil's War Leader. And now a Thrill of Possibilities. So yeah, it might just be red-green. Since the black doesn't seem to be flowing. And didn't pick up any great black removal spells. And then kind of our curve will kind of looks like this. Iro's Blessing counts maybe as a 4-drop since it's something you want to play on 4 like this. So yeah, doesn't look too bad. I think I'll just take a Thrill to basically have some way to draw cards. Also helps fuel escape. The Nihilist Huntmaster wouldn't be a bad inclusion, but our 4s are kind of stacked already. And red-green, you really want to be low to the ground and very aggressive against the opponent, so I think I'll take a Thrill. And now I guess I can take Nihilist Huntmaster. How good is Cetizen Skirmisher in this deck? Not a big fan of 1 toughness. We're not really a Constellations deck, of course, but it can be a fine serviceable 2-drop. Maybe just take the Nihilist Huntmaster anyways. But it is, again, quite expensive. And we have a high curve already. So, yeah, maybe Cetizen Skirmisher is playable. Not exciting, though. Could just take a Cetizen Training here as a good card that cantrips, replaces itself, and gives a creature +1/+0. Relentless Pursuit is better in the black-green escape deck, of course, as a way to fill the graveyard. But I think Cetizen Training offers the same upside almost, since if the creature dies, this also ends up in the graveyard, and this also replaces itself. So I do like a Cetizen Training here. And hopefully we don't play this Nyxborn Colossus. Okay, it seems like we might just be in red-green here, which I'm fine with. I'd rather play black-green, but if the black doesn't flow, then you just gotta stick with the necessary evil. Play the 2-color combination that you don't prefer sometimes, and that's how limited works. So yeah, we do have a good setup for the red-green Power 4 Matters deck. We only really have 1 payoff for the Power 4 Matters deck, though, which is the Nessian Hornbeetle. No real other Power 4 creatures payoffs that we care too much about. We did pass up a Warden of a Chain for the Loathsome Chimera, but that was just due to staying flexible. But hopefully we do get rewarded in the 3rd pack. And what do we open here? There's another Return to Nature. Hydra's Growth can be a fine card if we want to enhance like one of our tokens and make it gigantic. Nessian Wanderer can maybe help us hit our land drops. So, best card in this pack by far has to be Atris. Just a powerful 4-drop that enters the battlefield and draws this card. Staggered Insight can be great, since if you can attach this onto a flyer and get an attack, it replaces itself already. And, you know, even if you lose the creature, again, this replaces itself. So it's not all that bad, and if this doesn't get answered, you can just gain a significant amount of card advantage to steal the game. Dreadful Apathy is also fine. Could just take a second Return to Nature, to be honest. In terms of removal, we have 1 Omen, Final Flare, Iro's Blessing, another Return to Nature already, so could use another good removal spell, being this Return to Nature. I don't mind main decking too. However, Hydra's Growth is very good, but it is basically an all-in card. Which, you know, it can be an alternate win condition maybe. We just need to grow a small creature and turn it gigantic. But we have some big creatures already ourselves, so I don't know how much you want to commit to this. Maybe just take a Return to Nature and play 2 copies, which I don't mind. And Chainweb Arachneer, big fan of this. There's also a Temple of Abandon, but the Chainweb Arachneer is a good 1-drop, and they can escape later as a 4/5. Also makes it so that we can deal with flyers much more easily. So otherwise, I think I'd take a dual land over the Flummox Cyclops here, since I'm not a really big fan of this card. It does play well in red-green, of course, but it can't block, so it has its issues. Could just take a Wrapped in Flames. The best card in this pack is Banishing Light, but there's no way we're playing it. Wrapped in Flames can play well with the hero of the games if we pick up more. And here, I guess the Stampede Rider is a bit of a payoff card for the red-green deck. And I think we're going to stick with red-green since black was completely cut off. However, there is a late Mire's Grasp here. But still, I don't think we have enough black playables to consider moving to the black-green escape deck. So I think we just take the Stampede Rider, since it can become a 3/4 occasionally in this type of deck, which is very good. Here, I'm not a big fan of the Hydras. The Hydrax Tower Scout. It does play well with the Elysian Caryatid, but overall it's pretty bad. There's also a late Elspeth's Nightmare here, but again, we can't play it. Maybe just take a second Thrill in case we need to find some card draw. Now I guess I can take a Nihilist Huntmaster as a nice 4-drop for this type of deck. And I guess could take a second Elysian Caryatid, but the hero of the games plays pretty well with the Wrapped in Flames. so I don't mind 2 of them. In terms of our 2-drops, I mean, it's not bad. I'm playing double Listing Caryatid, since I might just go 16 lands in this type of deck, and then the 2 Caryatids can cover it. Otherwise, Hero can play well with his Wrapped in Flames, which I don't even know if we're going to end up playing, so I think I'll take the Caryatid here. And maybe Infuriate, we'll end up playing Hydra's Growth Wheel. Don't hate the Hydra's Growth, since it can turn our Caryatid into an giant creature, which I don't mind. Our 4s are looking stacked. So if we're looking to build this deck, I think we're cutting the Wrapped in Flames, cutting the Setessan Skirmisher, perhaps. Not a big fan of the Oread, to be honest, but, I mean, could just cut a Thrill of Possibilities over one. And then we can kind of keep the rest of these. I think we do need the Wings of Hubris to offer us a win condition. Hero to Games isn't all that amazing, so I guess that's also cuttable here. And we can maybe just play this Hydra's Growth in case we need to go all in. Alright, so this seems like a fine 16 land deck. Let's think here. I think this has to be 16 lands, since we have double Caryatid that I'm hoping to play. The Skobos War Leader is a little bit strange, but it is a 4-powered creature that I could use. In terms of 4 power, I have double Voracious Typhon, Huntmaster, Loathsome Chimera, Creature of Hydra's Growth, first Iroan Games. But the Skobos isn't all that impressive, since I don't know if we're looking to sacrifice. It does play with well the tokens from Anax, however, and it's a fine 5-drop that can block efficiently well. I think we play Wings again in this deck. Could consider cutting Wings of Hubris. Could consider kind of Infuriate, but it seems pretty decent in this type of deck. Thrill looks decent. In terms of our 2-drops, I guess the Chainweb Arachnir counts as kind of a 2-drop as well. So my question is, which card doesn't seem to fit this deck too well? This is how our curve really looks like. The Skobos, again, not all that amazing, since we only have 13 creatures. But it is a 4/5 at the end of the day, which isn't bad. I do not like the 4s here. The 3s look pretty good. The 2s, since we're going 16 land, double Caryatid is pretty nice. Oread is not amazing, but it is a 2-drop that we can play. I do like Iro's Blessings. I think I do like the Hydra's Growth as well. Final Flare can actually be something I don't know if I'm going to end up playing. Wings of Hubris gives me a way to fly over to win. Setessan Training is excellent. Could cut a Return to Nature, I guess. Do like the Thrill to at least have some more card draw. Maybe we just cut the Infuriate from this deck as just an okay combat trick. And then we can just go 16 lands here. We are kind of light on creatures, however. So I could consider, as crazy as it seems, playing this Setessan Skirmisher just to ensure that I have more 2-drops so I can curve out. But it's not that impressive, to be honest, unless you can really get out on turn 2. And we're not really a Constellation Matters deck. The only Constellation auras that we have, enchantments that we have, are Renata, Iro's Blessing, first Iroan Games, Hydra's Growth, I guess, Anax, Omen, Setessan Training. So yeah, actually I don't mind the Setessan Skirmisher here. Just gotta be careful here how much removal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 removal spells, which I don't hate. Let's see. I mean, this does need to trigger to at least become a 3/2, so it's a pretty bad card nonetheless. So maybe we don't care about the Setessan Skirmisher. The only cards I could maybe see considering is maybe Infuriate. I don't think I need second Thrill of Possibility, to be honest. And this deck does seem better in the Black-Green Escape deck, to be honest, due to the fact that it has a lot of these escape creatures. So hopefully some of this stuff can end up in the graveyard, as a matter of fact, so we can ensure that we win. So, I don't know. I mean, I guess this is 16 lands, right? So I guess I forgot about cutting the land, so that's important. We can cut the land and maybe just add this to Test and Skirmisher as a filler 2-drop, which I don't hate. And then we should have a lot of good creatures here, and I think we go even split 8-8, since I do want to hit my red and green consistently. It might be more important to hit the green, of course, simply because of this Caryatid, but I think I have plenty of red that I just want to stay even for the most part. So yeah, I think we'll try this deck out. 14 creatures looks good. It's more like 15 with the first Iroan games, to be exact. And 15 is usually about the right number where you want to be. Yeah, let's try this out. And our curve doesn't look pretty high as well, so I think 16 is alright. And we, again, are main decking 2 Caryatids to ramp into our big boys. So let's give this a go. Wish I picked up a Warden of a Chain to give it a picture, but the Iroan Games is fine here. Alright, I guess I could try to Hydras Growth into this Oriad. It's not a bad idea unless this dies, but it can be potentially powerful, so I think I'll keep this. And it curves out pretty decently, 2-drop into 3-drop into 4-drop. So I can't complain here. Opponent starts up with a Pious Wayfarer, so he's looking for it to be quite aggressive. The Oriad can serve as a pretty nice blocker. If this does get answered by a Dreadful Apathy, I'm going to be pretty sad though, so... Ooh, there's also Return to Nature I can end up playing, but I think I'll start with the Oriad here. Return to Nature can potentially answer maybe a Commanding Presence on the Transcendent Envoy. Okay, opponent could just put this on Double Strike mode, which I think he's planning to, so I think I'll start with Hydra's Growth. And even if it does get answered by Dreadful Apathy, I guess I do have Return to Nature next turn as a way to ambush. I think we'll stay back with this. If this attacks, I think I'm going to allow it to, since it's going to have Double Strike. Alright, he has his own Commanding Presence. So I think I'll take the hit here. It's going to be a lot, but I don't think I can afford to lose this Oriad. This is going to be up to 10 damage, so gotta be careful. And next turn I can ambush this with the Iroa's Blessing, the Return to Nature, so we'll just say go here. Hero the Nyxborn, alright. Might just pump the Oriad. Actually, I prefer him pumping the Iroas, so... Since now I can, now he's going to attack and I can ambush him. But this is pretty scary. It is Double Strike though, but I don't think I can take 6. So I think the trade has to be done. And I think I'm just dead here to this powerful Boros deck. Yeah, good game, opponent. Jeez. Wow, what a great deck. I think he totally deserved it there, since usually red, white isn't an amazing color in this set. But the opponent managed to pull it off with an early Commanding Presence. Here, we do have a potential Anax on 3. We are on the draw. I don't hate this. Omen into Anax isn't bad. Then we can sacrifice the Omen to Final Flare potentially. I think I'm fine keeping this. What would suck is missing on the 3rd land drop, of course, but it does happen. There is variance in this game. Opponent's also in red. Okay, it's not Boros Aggro this time, just a nice Incendiary Oracle. Do I mind taking 2? I don't mind taking 2 and seeing what the opponent plays next. You could play something better like Ephemia off the top and a Soul Reaper. So yeah, I think I'll answer it with. I think I'll answer the Incendiary Oracle now to Get out of the way. Now Anax looks really good, but I do need green mana for his Voracious Typhon eventually. Probably has a removal spell off the top. Okay. We do have a 1/1 token we can sacrifice to get rid of this Soul Reaper Mogus. I think I prefer sacrificing the 1/1 token since it can't even block. And I rather keep this for the Scry. But for now, I don't think I use the Final Flare since he didn't play anything too scary. So I think I'm fine playing the Elysian Caryatid. Maybe next turn taking 2, seeing what scary creature he plays, and then I can sacrifice maybe. A Thrill, okay. And a Rage Scar Berserker, but the Final Flare seems great here. I think I'll just take it here, no blocks. Do I sacrifice the Omen or do I sacrifice the 1/1 token? That's a good question. I guess the Voracious Typhon allows me to cast for 3 mana. So I guess I can play this and then I can pay 3 for the Final Flare, kill the Rage Scar Berserker. Do I keep the 1/1 token? It doesn't seem pretty useful, so I think I'll get rid of it here. Even though it can potentially do 1 damage, it can't block. And this Omen can potentially allow me to scry towards what I need. Underworld Charger, but we can block it with the Voracious Typhon. I guess I can attack with the Voracious Typhon and then play out the Skovos War Leader to block the 3/3 next turn. Let's see here. How much mana do I have? 1, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can't play everything all out. So I think I'm fine just attacking here with the Voracious Typhon. And then the Skovos War Leader is the most mana efficient card. I think I'll play that out. I can also just allow the opponent to hit me for 3, to be honest. Erebos, okay. Gotta be careful here. Can't sacrifice any creatures, but yeah, I think I'll sacrifice his Omen either way, just to scry for my answers here. Iro's Blessing looks excellent. Think I'll bomb the land, keep it on top. And what do I get rid of here? Probably the Soul Reaper of Mogus, since it can potentially do a lot of damage. I think I'm fine playing out the Iro's Blessings here. What do I enchant? Don't really know here. Maybe the Voracious Typhon. Sure. Because I would like to trade this off with the Underworld Charger later. So I'm willing to do damage here. Force the opponent to lose some life. And then I guess I can play out the Nylea's Huntmaster. Power up the Skovos War Leader and attack him with both. For a ton of damage. He might be forced to chump here. He still loses 2 life, but at least I get rid of his army. I mean, he can choose to or not. And he does, so he's definitely trying to find answers off the top. This can't block anyway, so I don't think I care if he attacks me with it. It is a good escape creature, by the way, in red-black, since it's looking to be quite aggressive, so... Not the best in black-green unless you're sideboarding against like a blue-black control deck, but still a very good card. So we'll continue. Gruul Smash. Easy deck, smash, smash, smash. Play a bunch of 2-drops, kill the opponent. Alright, Nessian Hornbeetle into Chimera looks excellent, we'll keep. I do like main decking 2 Return to Natures, by the way, because it's so efficient in this set. Just being able to answer those annoying enchantment creatures and enchantment-based removal makes it a premium. And curving out with the Loathsome Chimera is definitely very powerful. Opponent's in blue, so I don't expect any removal on turn 2 unless he plays like a red here for the Omen of the Forge, which he doesn't. He could have Mire's Grasp, which is scary, but alright, let's start out with the Loathsome Chimera, start growing our Nessian Horn Beetle. Go have an Omen of the Sea end step since he did pause for a second there. I guess he can flash in a turtle, sure, but we'll eventually get past it. And a Wave Break Hippocamp, okay, sure. I could just kill it with a Return to Nature, to be honest. So I have two choices. I can play out the Voracious Typhon, he blocks one of them, takes it, or I can just Return to Nature. I think the Return to Nature is more important, so he doesn't draw a million cards, and we still deal damage to him. So we'll just do that, play land, keep up another Return to Nature, the combat, attacking for 4, which he's forced to block, take. The Wave Break Hippocamp can definitely be very scary if he keeps up mana with this, since again he can just draw a million cards and gain card advantage over us. And again, we already have another Return to Nature, so this is a very good card. Jeez, so amazing in this format. And a Pharika spawn, but we can exile it, I guess, if we trade for it, so I don't mind that. So I think the game plan here is to, I mean, I guess we can just Iroan's Blessings it, to be honest. He could trade for it and then we can exile it, which I don't hate. Maybe we can just develop the board, perhaps. Maybe we can just Iroan's Blessings to get in there for 5. I don't hate trading off this Loathsome Chimera, but we have a chance to do a lot of damage if we need be, so I think we'll just Iroan's Blessings here, since this has the potential to attack past the turtle. And then we can exile this next turn. Just attacking for 10 is amazing here. Opponent might be thinking of blocking here. Okay. So opponent needs another creature to escape this and an extra land. So there's still some time to just exile this, which I will. Hopefully I do want to get a land on top soon so I can play out the Stampede Rider as well. Opponent might be looking to sack it here just to hit a land drop, so he can feel his Pharika spawn next turn to force me to sacrifice. I can always, again, just play around the Pharika spawn. I mean, play around the potential counterspell. Because he could have like a Whirlwind of Denial if he plays the green mana here. But it looks like he's going to cast something, an Inevitable End, sure. So if I destroy this, he's just going to get rid of it, I guess. So, unfortunately, I think we have to sacrifice this Nestine Horn Beetle, and then we can just exile this Pharika spawn, so he doesn't cast it. So yeah, Return to Nature definitely doing a great job in this set. Now we can get in there for 5. Play the Stampede Rider out. Since if he was able to escape the Pharika spawn next turn, we would be in major trouble. We would be forced to sacrifice one of our creatures, and he would have a giant blocker that we can't get out of the way. Now this Lamia is a bit annoying too, but I think we still attack into it, offer to trade, escape, potentially escape back this Loathsome Chimera. If I attack with a Stampede Rider, it's not going to get past the Lamia, so I could of course just play out the Voracious Typhon, in fact, which is almost the same thing. This does come back as a 5/2 again. Opponent puts in Acolyte of Affliction. I guess he has a way to get back. So I think I have to attack with the Loathsome, because if he does block the 3/4, he can just gain a million life off of it. So I think this is fine. And then I can just play out this Voracious Typhon, potentially. Which I'd rather escape over Loathsome Chimera. Let's play out land, since if he does have like a way to guess his plan is to use the Acolyte to get back Lamia and just replay it again. So pretty interesting way to play. So he can basically gain 1,000,000 life over time. But we're still going to keep attacking through. He might just be thinking of the Acolyte, yeah, and then he'll just replay it. Then get back to Lamia, then recast it the turn after. And we should get in there for like at least 4, I guess. And we don't have enough to escape with both of them. So maybe we can pick up a Wings of Hubris later and maybe just fly over and kill the opponent. We'll see. Hopefully we just don't flood out. We are running 16 lands, by the way. Opponent's thinking of, I think he took his draw step already. Opponent is just allowing this to happen. Okay. Guess we'll move to attack, see what happens. He could be keeping up something, maybe a Thrix. I guess it could just be a Thrix here. With a final death off the top, sure. And what can I do this turn? I could just escape the Loathsome Chimera. First Iroan Games isn't bad. It gives me another 4/4, draws me 2 cards. So I think I'll do that. Opponent's thinking about sacrificing this and scrying on upkeep. But he goes for the draw step instead. Makes sense. Opponent's splashing green for something, I guess for this Acolyte, so it's a pretty decent Soul Tie deck the opponent managed to draft. Since this does make sense with the current graveyard synergies he has, he might just be going for the infinite Gravebreaker Lamia combo. But this Iroan Games will allow me to draw cards, so I think it was right playing this. Yep, and he goes for it. And obviously going to get back the Lamia because it will gain him, but he gets back the Wavebreaker. Okay, that's interesting. Think here, think I don't mind just playing out the Skovos War Leader here over the Loathsome Chimera because it's almost the same thing. And it's also another power 4 creature. I think we'll just get an attack for 7. The opponent's forced to chump. Still wondering why he took the Wavebreak Hippocamp. The Lamia might have a little bit more upside since it can at least heal. And next turn I can just draw 2 cards to find something to deal with his threats if he has them. And Entrancing Lyre, sure. But that can only deal with 1 threat, to be honest. Yeah, it's not going to do much against this whole ground army, so... Alright, not bad. Elysian Caryatid can give me the red mana I need for the Anax. Omen of the Forge, Wings of Hubris can allow me to fly over to start getting a chunk of damage in. So I think this is a good keep. Opponent's also in green. Ooh, Iroan Games. Well, that looks really spicy. We'll see what the opponent plays. And he just passes. Okay, so I think we'll see what we play next. But this Caryatid looks very appealing. Opponent plays a Nexus Warden, pretty good blocker. So now what? I could just play Voracious Typhon here. I could play the Iroan Games. I could just play the Horn Beetle and maybe develop another 2-drop. How strong will be Annex? Annex will only have 3 power. I think it's just a Typhon here, just so I can attack past this 1/4 next turn. I could also Iroan Games, but it's more mana efficient to do the Voracious Typhon here, so I think I'll play that down. And I'd rather have the Iroan Games after I play this Voracious Typhon, just to ensure that I have more 4 power on the battlefield. Here this turn, Elysian Caryatid can make 2 mana, so I think I could just fly over, but this does have reach. So I think I'll play the Horn Beetle for sure, and then I have 4 more mana to spend. Guess we'll move to combat first. Attack with the Voracious Typhon. Someone takes it, of course, and then could just play out the Iroan Games right now. So then this ensures that I have a lot of 4 power going on. I guess if he kills this is going to be a bit of an issue. And the Rage-Scarred Berserker, don't know if that's going to do it. But I do have a Final Flare. And I do want to enhance his 1/1 token, of course. So now what? I could wait until the 3rd chapter to blow up the Rage-Scarred Berserker, at the very least. But I do want to get a huge attack in, to be honest. So how about this? We play Anax, and maybe we just blow up our Elysian Caryatid, since we can play everything out already, and we're going to draw a bunch of cards. So yeah, let's do it. And I'm fine sacking this Caryatid. And then we can get in there for 1,000,000. And he's forced to chump because this will be lethal. Alright. And that's how you draft a red-green deck, folks. Just double checking here. Yeah, the Hero of the Games doesn't have too much synergy besides the Iroh's Blessings and maybe the Hydra's Growth, so it's not that great. Final Flare has been doing some work in this game, just being able to serve as a good removal spell in some scenarios. Drill, we have one already. I'd rather have at least an Oriad as a 2-drop. Infuriate's situational, so yeah, I think this is the good deck. Let's continue. And 18 lands was perfect for this, since we have double Caryatid to ramp out our big stuff. Caryatid, don't really know how to pronounce it. However you want to pronounce it. Okay, we need some 2-drops here. Can I really let go of this? I mean, we're almost turn 4 to Voracious Typhons. The Test and Training can help us cantrip. We are on the draw. It would be pretty bad if we don't get a 2 or 3 drop, but I think I'm risking this, since this can be a potential very strong hand if I get something early. Alright then. Can I have a 2-drop? Nope. Can't get your 2-drop. Maybe I should play that Mountain in case I would top deck Annex, so a bit of a misstep there. Since if I did play out the Mountain this turn, last turn I could have potentially played Annex, but we have an Iroan Games right off the top. Excellent card, so let's get that going. Next turn we can just play out the Typhon. It will depend on what type of removal spell the opponent has. You could have a Stern Dismissal to punish me. Opponent just discards a land. You could have like, I guess, a bounce spell trick here. Makes sense, alright. But I do have a 4-power creature to follow up just to gain some, to get the card draw off of this, so this is still really nice for me. Guess he will just kill the Iroan Games anyways, maybe. We'll see what he does here. Trigger on the stack. He plays a Stern Dismissal. Alright, guess we're not drawing our cards, but the opponent at least spent 2 cards to just throw me off tempo. Here I think I just replay the Voracious Typhon, since it's such a powerful card, and the double white doesn't indicate a way to counter. Next turn, this Iroan Games. I guess I can stop on my upkeep in case I want to sacrifice this, and I think I will. Since I don't know how relevant this treasure is. I mean, I could always sacrifice the test and training later, and this Iro's Blessing can get him for 5. So I think I do want a token from this Iroan Games. So we'll just let that resolve, since this mana might be valuable, and now I can just play out the Iro's Blessing, get rid of this Archon, and I'm fine playing out this Caryatid, sacrificing the token just to have more mana. It would be pretty bad if you can exile this, of course. 1 with the stars, okay. That's pretty annoying. Could just play out Anax here, put on a Hydra's Growth. I don't hate that, since turning this into a giant creature would be pretty scary for the opponent. I guess I could Final Flare this Voracious Typhon, which isn't bad. Opponent has 1,000,001 of the stars, wow. Let's see, I can still use it to ramp at least, so I think I'll play out the Skovos War Leader. And then I can play out this Oread, since it's 2, and then I can get in there for 4. Hope the opponent doesn't, even if the opponent has Shatter the Sky, I guess I make 1,000,001s. And I do want to escape this Typhon eventually, so I don't mind using the Final Flare on my own Typhon. Here, I think I'll Setessan training the Skovos, since if I play another red creature, this will be 5 power at the very least, so I think we'll tap our mana like this. Allow it to resolve. Draw a card. Nali's Huntmaster isn't bad. How much Green Devotion do I have? I do have a lot to pump up this Oread, so I don't hate it. Opponent will be able to block the Anax, but he'll be taking 11 down to lethal, so... Alright, sweet. Even with 1,000,001 the stars and the Archon of Fallen Grace, the opponent still lost. Let's keep playing. Our deck seems to be very good, since we didn't seem to have any mana issues, and this is excellent. Nessian Hornbeetle. Maybe I can get the extra green for the Voracious Typhon. We are on the draw, so I think I'll keep. Opponent plays nothing here, okay. And Nessian Hornbeetle looks very good. Another blue-white Flyers deck. He might have a Dream Trawler. Let's see what the opponent plays here. Opponent passes. He could have Counterspell up. Okay. In this case, what do I play? Well, I guess the Setessan Trainer can get countered with a Deny the Divine, but I don't hate that, since I do have an upcoming Voracious Typhon following up. I guess you could ambush me with the whatchamacallit, the Omen of Sun. So I think I'm fine attacking first, and if he tries to block, I can Omen of the Forge to blow him out. And I'm fine if he uses this Vexingol, okay. We'll let that resolve, and then we will Omen of the Forge it. And a Glory Bearers, which is a good target for this Iroa's Blessing. And we have nothing else to play, so I think I'll just do it now while I can. Just to curve out here. This deck is really sweet. Just being able to curve out and tempo the opponent like this. The problem is that this needs to control another creature, basically, to start gaining counters, which can be a bit of an issue if I don't have anything else I can play. He could be keeping Deny the Divine up. So I think this turn I will definitely Setessan Training onto this Nessian Hornbeetle to cantrip at least. And there's a slight pause, so I think he has Counterspell up. I think he's fine with me drawing it. I'll play out the second Forest, play out the Wings of Hubris, attach it onto this Nessian Hornbeetle and start swinging in. Since now this wall will be obsolete. We don't care about a stupid wall, come on. We have Wings of Hubris. And he flashes out a Vexing Gull, okay. He realizes that can't really block the 4-3 in the air. He might not have Counterspell now he played the Vexing Gull, so I'm tempted to just play this Voracious Typhon next turn. But if he passes with full mana up, it definitely implies something, so... And he's also attacking. So this definitely implies something, okay. So do I just move the attacks first? I could just play out the Loathsome Chimera. I'd rather have this countered than the Voracious Typhon. And then even if this gets countered, I can Omen the Forge next turn. So I think I'll play the Loathsome, get this countered, and then if this doesn't get countered, I guess the Nessian Hornbeetle will gain a counter anyways, which is really good. Don't know what the opponent has up here. There's nothing that really punished me for attacking with a creature, besides, like, there's nothing that really untaps any creatures this set. Opponent might be holding up Counterspell here, but again, I'd rather have this countered over the Voracious Typhon, which is a much more valuable card. Opponent could just attack because he knew there was no way to counter this, to deal with this 4-3 anyways. Well, I don't know, maybe the opponent's on tilt. Sorry opponent, it does happen. Okay, Magic is a game of variance. Even I can build strong decks and still get 0-3'd sometimes. And then we can also sacrifice his Omen end step, which is really nice to help us scry for more playables. Guess the opponent's just going to lag out here, but I guess we get the free win. Alright, I guess he just allows it to resolve. We can move to combat. Nessian Hornbeetle becomes a flying 5-4 threat. Does he have a Thrix? I guess if he has Thrix, this can trade, but... Alright, no Thrix. We'll just pass our turn, sacrifice this end of our turn. And then, seems like the opponent is back online. He seems to be, I guess he missed down on the turn here because I don't know if he thinks he's going to win or not, so... If I attack with this 5-4, he could have a pump spell maybe. That can punish me, so maybe I still stay back. I could of course just attack with a Loathsome Chimera. Do I need Oread here? It's not that amazing. Definitely don't need to land. Oread, if I play it, I can start looting away. So next turn I guess I will be playing out the Voracious Typhon and Oread. And then using the ability to constantly loot away. How much lands do I have? 1, 2, I guess 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's not bad. I think I'll keep the Oread on top since I might need it in the future to basically play out, deploy my hand. And I think I'll lead with an Oread. And even if this gets countered by, I guess, the Whirlwind of Denial, it's still in the graveyard. So we'll just play the land out, play out the Voracious Typhon, see what the opponent does here. If he denies the Divine, counters this. Alright, I think we're fine attacking, and even if he does trade this off, and find a way to kill it, We do have the Wings of Hubris to give our Voracious Typhon in the future flying. So he probably has a trick here, maybe double Chimetra's Blessing to get rid of it, but luckily the Trample deals a shit ton of damage here. Okay, and we'll just pass our turn. Guess he's gonna play the Glimpse of Freedom for an escape cost. Right? And this is like the only real good card in the blue escape decks. I mean, and even then it's quite expensive, so blue-black self-mill doesn't make too much sense in this set unless you have lots of good black escape creatures. Most of the great escape creatures are in green, so it is kind of weird how the Devourer of Memory wants to mill itself. And blue-black is also very controlling while the uncommons are slanted mostly towards an aggressive stat line, so blue-black is definitely weird to me in this format. We have a Mastery Orb, so let's show off how cool we are. I think I'll just work on my black. Let's move on. Ooh, Eat to Extinction. Great. Cool. Nice cosmetic. And then next, the final one should just be Erebos. But let's try to get our 7 wins here today. This busted red-green deck. And show off another nice video. Alright, Caryatid isn't bad. Yeah, this isn't bad. As long as he doesn't answer this card, I think we should be fine. We are on the draw. If we get our 3rd lands, we can curve out into our 4 drops. So I think this is an easy keep. And also Wings is pretty nice with the Nylea's Huntmaster since I can start swinging for a lot in the air. Pull mulligans down to 6 on the play. He's on the best color in this whole set, black. So maybe we can cheese him out. Black-white is really strong. And a Lampad of Death's Vigil. Could destroy right now the Return to Nature, but I think that's a little bit greedy. I think we just need the mana here to ramp. I'd be damned if he kills this with a Mogis' Favor, which is a very good card as well, and a Heliod. Okay, Heliod is definitely something one should be careful about. This card is pretty busted. So let's see what we can do here. Do I want to kill this? If he does give this lifelink, I guess, and attack, I don't think that's going to worry too much if I have a 4-3 blocker in the air. Don't really want to Iro's Blessing this card, to be honest. Wings, return, I could return in Wings, but I think the Nylea's Huntmaster is just on curve. Even though I do want to hit slam hard with this, it is just a big creature that I need on the battlefield. Do need to answer some big flyer or something that the opponent might play to ensure that he doesn't get a million life. Here, I think it's an easy Nestine Hornbeetle, and then maybe we can Wings equip onto this Nylea's Huntmaster to start getting some hits in, while this Nestine Hornbeetle can just grow. So we'll equip here. And this Lampad's pretty annoying since he can just sacrifice creatures and get counters to something. So now we can move to combat. The Nestine Hornbeetle will start growing, and then we can start swinging for 4 in the air, which is really nice. And an Ominous Sun to start growing his stuff. Okay. And he puts on a Lampad, which I don't mind since I can just return to nature and kill it. What's annoying, however, is again he can just start growing it even more by sacrificing 1/1 creatures. But again, I don't mind. But then again, we have Return to Nature to the rescue in this matchup to prevent this from becoming an absurd deal. So I think here we just play land. I could play the Scovos Maze Warden, of course, which I don't hate as well. Yeah, why not? I think we'll just move to attacks first. Seeing what the opponent does. He could have a final death, but that's fine. If he shoots down my knight and Leah's Huntmaster, I have another creature coming up. And now I guess we can play out the Maze Warden. And I do need to eventually keep a land in hand to essentially get rid of something with this Thrill of Possibilities. Opponent could have a removal spell off the top, probably a final death. It'd be pretty annoying if he revoked existence this Wings of Hubris, to be honest. And I don't care how big this land pad gets, because again I have Return to Nature to answer it, which is pretty nice. Maybe I should have kept the land to get rid of with Thrill later on. And the final death, sure. I think the Nessian Hornbeetle is the scarier card, to be honest, since it's the one that's constantly growing. Opponent is on my upkeep. He's pausing on my upkeep. What is he thinking of? He's allowing the draw step to happen. Okay. Think I'm fine. This is interesting. I could just return Hydra's Growth my own Caryatid, which I don't hate. And then I can move the wings to the Nessian Hornbeetle. Yeah, let's try that. Since I do want to kind of spread the wealth, so to speak. And then now we can move the wings. Equip it onto our 4/4 creature. And I still have mana up for Return to Nature too, which isn't bad. Now if we move to combat, we can turn this into a 5/5. And then we can hit him in the air for 5, which is really nice. Opponent's scrying on his upkeep. Scrying end step, seeing what he can find off the top. I'm hoping he taps out so I can kill this land pad. Both on the bottom, okay. Opponent doesn't seem to have enough white devotion for Heliod 2, so I shouldn't be scared. End step, I could just fire this off. I think I will, just to ensure I get rid of this. Ooh, never mind. Yeah, just to get rid of this artifact. This enchantment. Let's get rid of this land pad. Sure, he can just sacrifice itself, give a counter to a 1/1, but I don't really care about that. This is just perfect. Unless the opponent has Shatter the Sky, I don't know how he's going to win this. We'll throw main phase, discarding land. Ooh, and now what? This is pretty interesting. I could Iroan's Blessings here and try to get in for lethal, force the opponent to chump. But I do like developing this Reynada, to be honest. I should be scared of a potential Shatter the Sky, maybe, but that is actually that is a rare. That's basically pretty difficult to draft in this set, so again there for 6, and we should be able to kill the opponent, I think, next turn. Wings of Hubris, MVP, obviously. Alright. I think the better name for this deck will be like the Gruuling Games. And then our picture should again just be the first Iroan Games here. Yep, and then we can just take a nice picture of this deck, since I have a feeling that it's going to get 7 wins, obviously. And I'd be damned if we don't get 7 wins, because it's just too powerful. from what I've just seen. So let's meet the final boss, get a nice 7 wins, upload this video, and show off how cool we are. Alright, 2-drop into 3-drop. Omen of the Forge can deal with something. Anax can become a 3-powered creature. I think this is an easy keep. Not a big fan of this card, but with some of the constellation going on and this being a 2-drop, it might just be important for this type of deck. Opponent's in blue-black, so the blue-black control deck with a Devourer of Memory off the top. Okay, do I kill it now? I don't mind waiting a turn, since I actually don't mind this milling itself. I could always just trade this off, to be honest. But this is a pretty good target to kill with the Omen of the Forge. Opponent attacks, so that's interesting. Yeah, no blocks. Don't really care about it blocking. And opponent just passes, okay. I think I'll just play the Anax now, just in case this Tessin Skirmisher dies. I can get value off of it. This also triggers Constellation, which is pretty nice. And now we can start pressuring the opponent for a ton. Opponent also missed the land drop too, so he's a little bit behind. Could just Omen here, which I don't hate. And if he has Starlight Mantle, I guess we'll just answer it with a Return to Nature. Since this is quite mana efficient. Sure. And if he Starlight Mantles, I guess I can attack with my Anax and then use Return to Nature once he blocks. But yeah, just 6 damage out of nowhere. Opponent's stuck on 2. This deck is pretty insane, not gonna lie. And Omen of Death to get it back, which we don't care about. I guess he just needs it to just constantly have a blocker back, but the opponent just gives up here since he can't get his 3rd land. And yeah, nice 7-in-1 video. Grueling games. And I think I forgot to add this deck to my decks pile, but I guess now Magic the Gathering Arena is kind enough to allow us to do so. So I add this to the inventory, take a nice photo of this cool 6-win deck, and then yeah, let's crack some packs. And let's do some draft simulations with half a pack here. Alright, pack 1, pick 1, Theros Beyond Death. Yeah, these cards are pretty awful. I think the only real playable ones are like Riptide Turtle, Glory Bringers, maybe Impending Doom if I want to go all in, but this would be pretty disappointing. Underworld Breach is not a card you really want to be playing in Limited, since it's really too expensive to cast, just to cast this, the 2 manas and then escape the creature in the graveyard. So yeah, just a lot of work pulling this off. Don't try it. Here, between Nesting Boar and Staggering Insight, they are both close. Nesting Boar is pretty powerful with the Wings of Hubris. It can also be a potential board wipe. However, if the opponent is able to step and go wide, then they can also draw a million cards. That being said, it is single color, so it's much more likely this is going to end up in your deck than perhaps first picking a Staggering Insight, which is also a great card. The moment you attack with a life-linking flyer, this already makes up for itself by being able to draw a card off of this. And then if you're in blue-white, there are lots of ways to protect your flyers, like Karametra's Blessings, Alseid of Life's Bounty, and the Starlight Mantle. So if you have this attached to a creature, you can potentially just gain a lot of life, draw a lot of cards, and just win the game. Another good card here is Daybreak Chimera, but I would never choose it over these 2, pack 1, pick 1. Between these 2, I don't know. I'm more of a guy who likes to stay flexible, so probably the Nesting Boar. But if Nesting Boar wasn't in his pack, it would be an easy Staggering Insight. So there you guys have it. Nice red-green Theros Beyond Death video. I should be uploading another video today. We'll see if I don't get too tired just talking to myself. So in the meantime, watch more of my content if you want to get better at drafting, and have a wonderful day. Take care, folks.